Welcome to PaPa T's train room number 2 in the town of Thomasville, which is a representation of a typical small town in South Carolina, Georgia, or the Southeast in general. This is a scaled down 11 by 16 foot layout following the 15 by 23 foot spread that I had at Lake Oconee, Georgia. Downsizing can be difficult, but it was fun rebuilding again. I still have businesses and accessories named after the grandkids, and during this viewing I'll introduce you to those grands one by one as you see their businesses in Thomasville. Here comes the Atlantic coastline. I rode the ACL from Penn Station in New York City all the way to Columbia, South Carolina in 1957. When I was just 12 years old, all by myself. This is a Pennsylvania Railroad GG1 electric, pulling a World War II Army train, and it was most likely a GG1 or similar electric that pulled the ACL from Penn Station in 1957 to hook up with the beautiful purple F3 ABA consist to pull the train from New Jersey to South Carolina when I made that ride in the late 1950s. Every small community loves it when the carnival comes to town, but in Thomasville, it's always there. Local merchants, including Barrett's Bike Shop, Bob's Corner, Scott's Gas Station, and other merchants across from the carnival, keep things going, weather permitting.
Pennsylvania 1361, you are clear for departure.
Here's Frank's IGA. You may recall small markets like this one. You might even remember prices like those you just saw. Canned soup, 15 cents. Apples, a nickel a pound. Bananas, 10 cents a pound. A full pound of coffee for next to nothing. Note the 57 Chevy and the pink Edsel out front. Remember some of those automobile colors in the 1950s? And the other autos, the motor scooter, the bus. And then a 1956 Chevy Corvette. Now let's take a view of the action in the back of the store, including the man receiving goods at the loading dock, activity at the dumpster. Check out the dirty windshield on that van, hadn't been washed in a while. There's a Coca-Cola delivery taking place. It's still the real thing. And then the dogs begging at the garbage cans. You think he'll give those guys a little grub? A little further down the white picket fence are some guys, or at least one working while another is taking a break. Just beyond that spot, you'll see a 1949 South Carolina Highway Patrol car in a light color green, looking for speeders in Thomasville. Note the Palmetto State logo on the side. Now we'll pick it up at Gavin's Garage, where there's a sign that says it's just a quarter of a mile ahead, and then there's Fletcher's Fix-It Shop in the background. Headed back up the road from the IGA, there's that 56 Corvette again. Hey, there's a 55 Mercedes 300 SL and a Oldsmobile. Could you tell what year that was? Now we're looking up Main Street, Thomasville. Notice it says 1,414 people. That's a small town, but a lot going on. You can see Fletcher looking over things happening at Fletcher's Fix-It Shop. Wants to make sure all those workers are earning every penny he's paying them. And as we zoom out from Fletcher's, you'll see in the distance there the warehouse district. We'll come back to that a little later in this video. A broad view of downtown. You notice the neon signs from Miller Engineering. What a great set of products they have, duplicating old neon from years ago. We'll get a closer look at that 6-story Olsen Hotel a little later on. Here's Riley Grace Logging. Riley Grace, number 2 granddaughter. Riley Grace Logging right next to Irene's Diner. Now we're at AJ's Pipe Company. AJ is also known as Addison Justin Wirt. He also owns the Pontiac dealership, and you'll see Addison's Autos in a little while. Going across Burlew Bridge, I see Sheriff Adam Wirt on his motorcycle. He just left Barrett's Bike Shop where he got a tune-up, and we're looking at the residential district, a young paper boy making a delivery there, and one of the young men mowing a neighbor's yard, and a couple visiting across a hedge. And you'll also see some churches in the background, several churches in Thomasville. We're looking across the water that's behind the Olsen Hotel. There's a little beach there that people come to. It's almost like a little resort. Gavin's Garage. Gavin, number 3 grandson. This is the best prices in town and some good service. They're in competition with Fletcher's Fix-It Shop. There's a higher view or a better view of the Olsen Hotel. I wonder how that place got its name. Here's Addison's Autos. I want you to note there's a 1956 Pontiac inside. That's a replica in color and year of the car that we had when I was growing up. There's Tay's Train Shop and Hannah's Haberdashery, Hannah, number 1 granddaughter, and the local bank. This is Fritz's Fruit and Vegetables. It's a wholesaler in downtown Thomasville. They make deliveries to the local market and also to Billy's Corner on Main Street and on Back Street. Here comes a New York Central RS-11, pulling the longest train on the layout. See if you can count the cars. It's coming over a bridge that is crossing over Main Street, downtown Thomasville. Enjoy the ride. Here's Billy's Corner on Main Street, right next to Irene's Diner, another one of the buildings constructed by Randy Burlew. Here's Billy's Corner on Back Street. They wholesale the goods here. And here comes the trolley. Notice hot dogs are just 15 cents at the Madisonville Diner. Here comes the beautiful Santa Fe Alco ABA in war bonnet colors. One of the grandkids' favorite trains. Now starting at Fletcher's Fix-It shop, we'll let the train take you slowly around the layout with an inside view. There's Main Street. Looks like a little bump in the road there. The Esso station. Is that an Eisenhower for President sign? And what in the world is that Alabama pennant all about? Note the curbside service at Irene's Diner. Got a couple of ladies on roller skates bringing food and beverages. The die-cast pumps and the Esso sign are something I bought when I was about 12 or 13 years old back in the 1950s. Remember when it was service, not self-serve? There's Riley Grace Logging, number 2 granddaughter. She's the owner of the local logging company. What in the world is that Aston Martin doing in downtown Thomasville? Must be just passing through, going past Billy's Corner there. Some hard workers, employees of the New York Central, unloading some sand. Oh, and there's a DuPont logo. My dad worked for DuPont for 40 years. And there's a DuPont Xerox billboard. I wonder how that happened. Now we're going to go past AJ's Pipe Company. You saw that in action earlier. And here's another view looking into Thomasville. Little activity at the local railway station there. I'll take you through the tunnel and see what comes up next. There's that wedding I told you about in front of First Baptist Church. Hey, another Rolls Royce. And there's the local cemetery right next to the church in downtown. Now we'll come up behind the Olsen Hotel. There's a little beach back there. Wonder where those beach umbrellas came from. And here is Thomasville Lumber. It's the largest business in downtown Thomasville, established in 1889. There's a sign for it, and now we're back to Fletcher's Fix-It shop. And now here's the Olsen Hotel. Notice how well people dressed back in the old days. There's the driver picking up the luggage to load in the Rolls Royce, and a Jesus Saves sign. The Olsens are certainly letting you know that they are believers. And we get to the top of this 6-story hotel in downtown Thomasville, you'll see a Salvation Army advertisement. If you look at the other side of the railroad tracks, there's the low rent district, that apartment building also built by Mr. Randy Burlew. And there's Casey's Kitty City Toys. Casey is our daughter. And there's Thomasville Lumber in the background. And now a final view of downtown. There's Addison's Autos, Tay's Train Shop. Taylor Ledyard did the billboards and signs for the layout. There's Olsen Feed, Hannah's Haberdashery off in the distance, and the bank. In the foreground, there's Gigi's Real Estate. Gigi is my wife. She did the clouds, helped paint buildings, did all kinds of additions to the layout. And we finish up with another view of the downtown Texaco. This final view begins with a actual group of stores from downtown Brooklyn, New York, where my mother grew up. And then comes Sarah's animal shelter. And after that, we have Jenny's mortgage. Sarah and Jenny are two of our daughters-in-law, or as we would say, our daughters-in-love. We'll wrap things up with a final view of Papa T's Train Room 2.
Pennsy 9639, please stand by. Over.
Roger that. Pennsylvania 9639 is standing by. Out. Pennsy 9639, am I clear to move yet?
9639, you are good to go. Over.
Thank you, sir. We're clear. 9639 out.